Everybody, so 74% of sellers feel that right now is the time to sell their home, which is completely different than buyers, because buyers right now, only 24% of them are saying, hey, it is time for me to buy. Isn't that just amazing how we see just an absolutely bipolar type of perception based on what's going on in the market? Okay, so let's hit both sides of this. We'll keep this super simple. But first, make sure you subscribe. Share the link. Subscribing helps us to get these videos, which are free, out to others so they can make a really good business decision. So let's help others just be informed. That's all this is. Hit the bell. That way you get alerted when we're actually doing the videos, and you get the information as quick as possible, because this is real time. Again, one of the feedbacks, I had Joe reached out to me and said, George, oh my gosh, you're absolutely right. He says, I was heading down the right path. I was reading information about what the market's going, and you're right. I happened to have gone back and I looked, and it was like, holy smokes, they're talking about February. It's not February. It's almost the end of April. And so understand that the goal of media is to sell sensationalism. I shouldn't say that. I've got some clients that are in the media, and they're fabulous people. But their job is to attract you, to get and provide you information. Now, national information, it takes a while for them to gather it up and to analyze the metrics and say, hey, here's what's going. This is a different show. This is dynamic because we're looking at this and we're in the trenches and we're seeing what's going on, and we pop our head up and we look around and say, okay, here's what's happening on a more on our level. Sure, we do some national level, but most of it is right here. This is the only thing that matters. Not what goes on in other states. It matters here, so you can make a really good business decision. All right, so bing, hit the subscribe. All right, so why do sellers feel it's a really great time to sell, but buyers right now are saying, put on the brakes, got to stop? Okay, well, sellers have it right. That's my humble opinion. Why? Okay, so even though this number looks really big, 21.7%, you're like, wow, that's a big number. That's almost 25%. Okay, it's 950 homes. When you deal with really small numbers, adding a modest number makes it seem really big. But here's what's really funny. On our average running day, 7-day running average, we had the largest, 1,726 homes, the largest number of homes coming on market on Friday ever for this year, I should say. Up year to date. How's that? Year to date, it is the largest influx of homes coming on at any one time. And you might be saying, oh my gosh, is that bad? No, it's seasonal, it's normal. We're having great conversations with sellers right now. It is normal. This is our spring market. Look, leaves are out on the trees. Flowers are out there. The birds and the bees. And anyway, not to get into a song, but people come out and put their home on the market this time of year because their homes start to look pretty instead of, like skeleton trees, like what I still have in my house. Anyway, pended 1,478. That was a little bit less than what we've seen in past weeks. Not uncommon. We do have some buyers, tapering back a little bit. Why? Some of it is information that they're seeing. Part of it is real because interest rates are going up. There is buyer fatigue without a doubt. When we talk about the solds, 1,431. That's spot on perfect. Okay? That is exactly where we should be trending, and that number will continue to grow. Again, this is the first week we have ever seen this number larger than the pended. New on market coming on is still, crazy enough, below where we were at year over year, or month over month, because it's down 1.6%. Here, it's up year over year. It's over, it's 450 homes. Okay, now to be perspective, We're talking about the Northwest MLS. This is half of Washington State. Washington State is a pretty big state, so that's a pretty small number. So it's not a big deal. Again, our numbers are still suffering. We still only have, I think today we had 12 days of inventory. Woo! We need 2 to 3 months. That takes us back to 2019, because remember, this same month in 2020, we have 68% less inventory. That's a pretty amazing number. And that's on a national level even. So just keep that in mind. When we take a look at pendants are down a little bit year over year by 500 homes, 550 homes, pretty small. 1,300 homes, but look at this, 5.7. Remember, last month we were in the 8%. Cha-chink, we just keep pulling it down. I think last week it was 6 something, like 6.1, I think it was. And when we take a look at what's going on, we just keep whittling it away to where 2022 is going to be, and again, just be that kind of steady, just keep chiseling it away, because we don't have a lot of inventory. There's still a lot of massive pent-up demand of buyers, and sellers are realizing this, and now, whoops, they're seeing, oh, God, did I miss it? You know, as interest rates start hedging up, because remember, we were at 4.5% last week. Oh, bummer, we're back up to 5. And remember, by September, our prediction is that we would be close to about 6%. Somebody asked me if we're going to hit 7% next year in 2023. I said, unfortunately, that is probably going to be the case. As feds continue to raise the lending rate, okay, that has nothing to do with mortgages, because remember, your mortgage-backed securities, your bonds, and your 10-year treasuries, those are things you need to keep in mind, and those are the tickers on the stock market that you need to watch, because that is what indicates what mortgage rates are going to be, okay? Feds deal with home equity line of credits, or HELOCs. They deal with car loans. They deal with credit cards. They deal with business lines. Those kinds of things is what they deal with, all right? So just keep that in mind as to, you know, what you're looking at doing. You know, we have a client that's looking at, you know, vacillating. Hey, George, I got 2.8 mortgage. I'm thinking about doing something different for a little bit. And, you know, maybe should I sell? Should I keep? And I'm like, hey, this is a really important business decision, because you will never see that rate again. And, you know, hey, here are some options. Does renting, you know, buy you time, you know, to fit within a 2-year window between owning and renting? Does that allow you a better decision, right? Because it's all about the client. What is best for the client? And then they get to make a really good business decision based on that. There you go, right? Okay, when we take a look at what is pended month over month in April, we're up technically 3.6%, even though we're down just a little bit, 5.1%. It's only 276 homes for the month of April. Why? Well, sadly, we haven't seen enough new homes coming on market, because today we actually hit 5,200, 5,300 homes, I think technically yesterday, single family homes in the Northwest MLS for sale. That's the biggest number we've seen in a long time, because normally it's like 3,500, 3,800. On Fridays, 4,300 we'd hit. Boop, we hit 5,300. Why? Sellers, absolutely without a doubt, feel that now is the time. Why? Well, it's spring. 2, rates are going up. Let's make sure that we're able to make sure that we're into the buyer profile still. That makes perfect sense. Why? Because there's still massive pent-up demand. Now listen, here's the key thing to understand. When we talk about pent-up demand, that doesn't mean I'm going to go out and be crazy with my price, because the market clearly says, boop, no way. And that's why you'll see a home sitting on market longer than 10 days. If you're on market longer than 10 days, you're overpriced. Or there's something wrong. There's 3 reasons a home doesn't sell: price, location, or area or condition, all right? And everything is fixed by price. So understand, the market is super smart. And the buyers that are out there right now, because there are less of them, because of buyer fatigue, oh man, I'll tell you something. That is one thing we hear all the time, is buyer fatigue. And I get that, you know. They're just fed up with the multiple offers. They're fed up with all the escalations. They're fed up with the insanity sometimes that goes with some of these offers. However, here's the good news. There's a lot of buyers that are backing off. Even after last week's video, bonk, 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 hitting you with a logic hammer saying, don't back off, buyers. Keep going. It is not going to get cheaper. Can't. Not for a long time. Even 2023, because as you guys might remember, we said 2023 was going to be a slowing trend. This is not new. People are now talking about it. It's not new. We've been talking about that for a year and a half. It's going to start slowing down. Why? Because interest rates, as predicted, are going up, as predicted. Okay? 2023 is going to slow down. 2024, that's going to start to see a tail end, maybe a recovery, because I think that our recession is going to be very low and very short. I do not expect this to be very long, even though, yes, our inflation is hitting almost 9% right now, and the cost of goods, cost of everything, is going up, sadly. But as we start to see this transition, we will start to see a little more consumer confidence. We might see a change in the House, meaning the public or the political world of the House, Democrats and Republicans, and see a little bit of a shift, giving some consumer confidence to basically start to wane and allow some of that to soften. You like that? Those new words? We're tapering and softening. Almost like, I don't know, it's like a diet. Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, so if you're concerned as a buyer, you should be, but keep your nose to the grindstone. You have to keep looking for that home because interest rates are only going to go up. They are not going to come back down. In fact, Leah asked, no, that's not it. Hang on a second. Danielle, nope, that's not it either. I lied. I forgot who I asked. Actually, I have a list of people that ask questions I'm supposed to answer. Somebody asked me, will rates go back down? Oh, it's Nicole. Will interest rates go back down to 3% again? The answer is no. I don't see that happening. You know, we might bobble in and out of the fours, but we are definitely on an upward trend. And we are going to continue on an upward trend, I think, from here moving forward, because we had unprecedented, very unique interest rates that were bought down because of the Feds buying mortgage-backed securities, that they are tapering. You like that, tapering? They're quit buying them as much, which means then that becomes a little more volatile, which means that they don't become as valuable, which means interest rates go up. There you go. All right. No, I don't see that happening unless the Fed start buying a bunch of mortgage-backed securities again. It is what it is. All right. So Leah asked, what is an ARM? You spoke about that last week, and you said that if there's any difference between 1% and 1.5%, you might want to consider an ARM loan. An ARM is an adjustable rate mortgage. Okay. If you're going to be in a home for less than 10 years, and you do like a 10 and 1, meaning it's fixed for 10 years, and then it adjusts annually. That's what the 1 means, is 1 year. It adjusts annually, okay? Versus like a 10 and 6, okay? That doesn't mean it adjusts every 6 years. It adjusts every 6 months, right? Fixed for 10 years, then it'll adjust. When that disparity, when the interest rate disparity becomes 1% or 1.5%, it is worthwhile looking at an ARM if you're not going to be in that home for longer periods of time. Some people might say, you know what, the longest I'm going to be in this house is 7 years. I'm going to get a 10 and 1 ARM. I'm going to save 1%, because as interest rates go up, ARMs become more and more desirable. Why? Because you get a huge rate change, which allows you to either A, know that you're going to have a greater income later, along with a principal buy down, or you just know you're not going to be in that property. Why pay for 30-year money? Makes perfect sense, okay? But you need to evaluate each one of those circumstances, and does it make sense, versus maybe just doing a small rate buy down. We'll see what that says. All right. Sondra asks, so this is a great one. How accurate is a Zestimate? How accurate is Redfin? All right. First of all, Redfin and Realtor.com and most of these other programs, that's exactly what it is. It's a program. It's an algorithm, right? And it takes into consideration, you know, the home sales around it and says, hey, based on this square footage, here are these, poof, here's your value, right? And, you know, as we all know that the iBuyer, that's an internet buyer, right? Zillow got into gobs and gobs of trouble because they were following their own guidelines as far as overinflated. I mean, did I say overinflated value? Okay, so Zestimates are almost inherently wrong. They have a neighbor of mine's property, which is a tear down, valued at $1 million. I just laugh when I hear that because it's not. It's a tear down. There's the values in the land. There's no structure. The property's not even worth $1 million. But yet, because everything around it has such a higher value that they say, oh, here it is. That's an algorithm. How accurate are they? They're not. Most of the time, including Redfin, even though Redfin is getting better, sadly enough, they say that they get it 50% right to be within 5% of the time. Okay, well, if there's a 20% margin, they can get it, 80% of the time is correct, or something to that effect. In other words, they're not accurate at all. If you need a value, contact your local real estate broker. Contact us. It doesn't matter. There's no strings attached. We do 80 home evaluations every single week. We're pretty dialed into them. Pretty much we have an idea what your home is worth. We can help that. We concentrate in Pierce, King, and Snohomish County with our team. If you're in that, great. Let us know. All right. Let's see here. Danielle asks, do you need a license to sell your own home? No, you do not. To sell your own personal residence, not somebody else's, your own personal residence, it's called a for sale by owner. And yes, you can do that by yourself. Yes, Washington State has a lot more legal items that need to be checked. There is a video. I have Vikas and Sifat go ahead and post the video that is for that, and called, I think it's called Selling Your Home on Your Own, or anyway, we'll pull up that video link and we'll put that in this so that you guys can have it and you can watch it. And it walks you through what you need to do to sell your home on your own. Pretty straightforward. Yes. Is it fraught with issues? Hey, listen. The question is, if you had to do a lawsuit, would you do a lawsuit on your own? Well, in some circumstances, there are some people who say, yeah, absolutely I would. And those people will do a for sale by owner. Is it for the average person? The answer is no. Why? Because there's a lot that goes into it. And not only dealing with the contract element of it, but making sure that you're getting the right price. And if you run into a hiccup, how is that hiccup resolved? Okay. There's a reason that you have agents that excel in real estate and charge a better fee. And then you have your limited service folks that you better hope that they never get a hiccup, because all they care about is getting you under contract, getting it sold, getting a paycheck, moving on to the next one. That's it. That's all they care about. It's a limited service, and there's a lot of them out there, but you get what you pay for, and you better hope nothing happens. And unfortunately it does. And you need to know how to work through it to make sure that you guys have a happy ending with the, with the transaction. All right. Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae has this thing. I know it's really funny. It's called the Home Purchase Sentiment Index, the HPSI. And that's where part of these numbers come from when we talk about home sellers saying 74% of home sellers saying that it's a good time to sell. Now, it cracks me up that the government pays to have a home purchase sentiment index. I'm not sure why, but I just find that a little humorous. All right, so 69% of respondents expect mortgage rates to go up in the next 12 months. Well, there you go. I totally agree, and anybody who's watching this show will agree with that also. All right, Fannie Mae Vice President and Deputy Chief Economist. Only 24% of consumers believe it is a good time to buy a home. We went through that, right? The level of pessimism expressed by nearly all demographic groups surveyed. Okay, that's not an unexpected thing. We talked about that. We talked about that last week, and telling buyers, look, stick with it. Don't give up. It is not going to get cheaper. I guarantee it. And if you, look, we had a couple of people that challenged me on this, saying, okay, show me the numbers, George. And we did. We showed, I said, what's your price point? Okay. And then we said, okay, so if it goes up this much and then drops down this much, but yet interest rates go up, 5.5, 6, and we showed them. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're right. I'm losing money. Yes. Stop losing money. Go buy your home. Stick with it. Sellers, you're absolutely right. Look, there's still a limited inventory. There's still a massive pent-up demand. Your home will sell. Get it out there. Thank you, all the sellers that did this. That is awesome sauce. Okay? But believe it or not, we're waiting for more, because we will come to your home in droves. Well, I promise you. Yes, you're not going to see the massive escalations. No, you're not going to see, 10, 15 offers. You might still see 2, 3, 4 offers. Okay? You only need one buyer, but nonetheless, it's just going to be a little bit more moderated. It's not as crazy. It's not as insane. You have to be more reasonable. All right. Whatever that is. Okay. Good time, bad time to sell. Sellers, hands down, it's a good time to sell. Buyers, it's a great time to buy. Don't stop. If you have any questions, reach out to me. It's free. Remember, again, subscribe. Subscribing means others get this really good information to make the best business decision for them and their families. We appreciate each and every one of you that do subscribe. And please keep asking questions. These questions here were asked. We will just keep answering questions. They will be able to attest. I do not stalk you. I do not hunt you down. I provide you great information. And many times they will say, hey, can you provide clarity? And I'll do a small video for them. And I send that off. Okay? So, as Rick says, hey, I'm the greatest realtor he's ever met. I like that. If you have any questions, ask them. In the meantime, it is going to be a beautiful day out there. A little bit of rain this afternoon, but a beautiful day. Go out, enjoy it. It's beautiful outside. And I will see you guys on the next video. Take care.